where is the button?
Hi there. This is Ultraviolet Grasslands episode. Oh, geez, I don't know what episode we're on. Notes session
Fif-
log 15. Woo, session 15. Great. Um, do y'all have any memories of last time? I have some notes. They are sparse.
I have lots of memories because
We spent
let's
a lot of
see.
time at the Steel of the Pierced Blossom
Right.
after resting up at Fallen Umber after going to.
Was last game the game where Phaedra did all the transcribing?
Yeah, spent 4 weeks working on that Rosetta Stone.
Oh yeah, and I fought a bear and that hurt real bad.
Yeah, you got messed up by a bear. That's right,
But then I got
Yeah.
better at fighting.
on
Yep.
purpose. Met a
Yeah, sparred with a bear. Got a little out of hand.
you got some cool ghost goods from a ghost caravan.
Yep.
Um, they are on the line for some Onerix resonators. Modon, maybe folks from Old Umber recognized you.
Yep.
And
Mm.
you translated all the languages from the steel, so you've got a portable copy of that now after a month, which is great. um
Yeah, my plans are I'm going to attempt to use this to start learning like languages as a skill.
yeah, and oh yeah, and the last thing that happened was Modon got a little time slip action,
Oh
and
yeah.
took the hit for him and synced with something. By what the choices were like, take this damage, or take the third tick on learning this skill for your garbled voices. And of course, we went with the
That
great
one
choice.
will be, and then yeah, and you're like, and that one will be worse, will be the worst. And I'm like, oh,
Let's
I'm
do it.
totally taking that one.
So now that you have the rebuilder as a trait,
Yes, the rebuilder. Yep.
whatever or whoever that is.
Teal, do you play Trophy out of curiosity?
Well, I just did.
Talking about our trophy game, yeah.
Yeah, and it was so my problem with trophy is, and I've got all the trophy things at this point. I've never run them or played them before, but my problem has been it's super cool. Although, by the way, I actually also have at least some fair portion of Simba Room, which is also super cool, and um, the original motivation, as far as I know. The my difficulty is I don't hardly ever play just absolutely greedy characters.
Mm-hmm.
So the Sith one was perfect for me because I understand that mentality better. Although
Right.
you notice I didn't play a Sith, I played
Fifth groupie, yeah.
yeah. And
With Trophy, the big thing is, I mean, for me, I think the big thing, you don't necessarily have to be greedy, but you have to have a certain level of hubris in
Mm.
order for it
right.
to work. So you're trying to get your goal, and to achieve your goal, you need money. You're not so
That's
much
it.
focused on the money, money for money's sake. You need the money in order to do the thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that might work. My tendency is to be cautious about hubris in general. I have
Mm.
characters who have hubris, but they do it in a very um so are any of you familiar with the character of Jeeves from the British novels?
Jeeves and Worcester. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Woodhouse.
So I created a character modeled on Worcester.
Mm.
So I have a drow who was raised. This was in a Dragonstar campaign. So I made a mostly drow, tiny bit dragon character who was raised by the Bronze House, which is a good dragon side. So I'm a drow raised by good dragons, but he's a rich kid, and he's just used to people taking care of problems for him, and this is what money is for. So he is, he does have quite a bit of hubris, but he's also very low on um, the goals scale.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually a
Got
spy,
it.
but that's a separate issue. He actually likes that part. But mostly he's just like I just the universe is good. I have status. people do things, everything's fine.
How bad could it be?
Yeah. So I don't know that he would be a good candidate for going on a trophy adventure.
And definitely not a good candidate for the rebuilder.
I like a pretty good variety of games, so I like playing different, hey, play one that's like this, play one's like this, play one's like this. But like, definitely not my favorite. I feel like maybe it's just the games we choose to play in the other group with Mark. I don't know. We've played a pretty good variety, but it seems like a lot of games these days are focused on the darker, like, oh, you're so fucked, let's see how long you can survive. And I'm like, that's not my favorite genre. Everything is against you.
That's
good luck, fucker.
Honestly, that's kind of a design reaction against like the 0 to hero standard trope of like D&D.
Except that it's older because it comes from the oldest that I've seen was Warhammer Fantasy. But at least in the context of Warhammer Fantasy, I felt like they provided a pretty good setting that had a variety of things, whereas Warhammer 40,000 is just like all shit.
Yeah.
And as much as it had some cool stuff in it, I'm sort of like, wait, you want a universe that's only war, and that's just. And if you read human stuff, it's all bad. I'm like, why? Why am I going to be on this side?
I mean, the other classic game where you go into it knowing that you're probably going to die or go crazy is Call of Cthulhu, which has been around since 1981.
Yeah.
But with Call of Cthulhu, it's more quote unquote innocent. You're not there to do terrible things. You're there to have terrible things done to you.
But even then, though, it's like that can be fun if sometimes. But sometimes I don't want everything to be against me. Like, that feels like life.
Yes, exactly. It's a little too close to life. Yes.
I'm like, that's one of the reasons I'm finding my Star Wars game kind of fun, because it does feel like a game that's more like, we're the heroes. Things are probably going to go our way. There'll be some challenges and some exciting moments, but it's not like, oh, you guys are really screwed, man.
Yeah. I mean, of all the games I play with, the groups I play with, none of the groups I played with have been focused on let's just have a miserable time tonight or something like that. I played Call of Cthulhu once with I don't remember who, and we didn't get very far in, so I didn't go insane. But most of the rest of the stuff we're sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. There's a lot of, you're supposed to be heroes, but you're not necessarily, like, you're not going to win. You're not necessarily going to lose. It's just going to be this long time of getting to be heroes.
Yeah.
So
I think, I'm someone like say like a good balance where we played the dark game. We're like, oh, everything's against us. Now let's play something fun where we're fluffy bunnies having a tea party or whatever.
Right.
I have just the game for you.
The interesting thing though about that was, and I learned this playing a game called Hong Kong Action Theater, the original version.
Oh yeah.
And I was actually at a convention in Kansas City, and I decided to separate from the rest of the party. So Gareth Michael Skarka, who's the author, was there, and so he ran me while the other players, whatever, and which was very interesting. But that game has this fiction that you are an actor playing a role in a movie.
Yep.
And it was the first time where I was in a situation where it was very obvious that I needed to die for the story. And I didn't feel compromised because I knew my actor wasn't going to die. I was actually playing an old man actor. And so I died, and then I got irritated because they tried to resurrect me, but that's separate.
The story game, it came from the Late Show, is also has a similar premise.
Yeah. It helps you have more distance from your character. And so in the Trophy Dark Side thing, I was not expecting to become attached to the character so much. And when the opportunity arrived, well, basically the storyteller was like, oh, one of your fallen companions is over here. And the Sith droid is working on controlling some dangerous creature. I was like, oh, well, this is an obvious thing I should do. Released it, which
I believe that's the creature that killed me.
But the funny thing was he was trying so hard to get us to betray each other, and nobody was doing that.
We were all just like, gotta do our thing. But that's
Yeah, we have our
free
mission,
trophy
and
is
we
always
had
like, and now everybody fight.
yeah, yeah. So
Cool. Let's get on the road. How about that?
I like it.
We let's see, we ended up finishing up all the stuff at the steel at the destination. So you are on the road. I don't think we picked a direction, right?
I'm kind of feeling like let's continue on our let's my opinion is let's continue heading west, so which means let's head toward Behemoth Shell.
Cool.
But if folks want to like take a more roundabout way and see what's in South Facing Passage and Long Ridge and Serpentstone, we could certainly do that as well.
Yeah.
Or instead.
And Aderon is having that nagging pulse of a pull back each, but it's not debilitating or anything.
yeah, well, so I'm treating it as if it is. So because I cannot imagine this would not be sort of overwhelming.
Mhm.
So what Aderon is going to do for whatever the next week is they're going to form a crystal shell around themselves and sort of perform a butterfly maneuver,
Ooh.
trying to figure out how to deal with, because my conception is that this is really rough. I actually, and this is the thing I was talking about before the game.
Yeah.
I contemplated asking you to run Aderon through like a Trophy Dark scenario where Aderon is trying to survive the experience, because I don't feel like it should just be, oh, I made 3 rolls and everything's fine.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to be fine. But it will be fun. It's not a doomed ending, but it's a very interesting direction, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, so Behemoth Shell is the top vote. It sounds like if other folks have other interests, we can do that.
I'm with me.
Yeah, I mean the other thing that I was hoping we could find would be a settlement of some sort where we could do a little more trading, because we're starting to run low on supplies.
Yeah. I believe we can hook you up at the shell.
Okay.
With a little bit of exploration, perhaps.
All right.
Cool. So let's head west then. So
West, young man.
It's a 1 week journey western. 1 week journey western. Yeah, that's right. That's a sentence. Cool. So down the list, spend supplies if we have them to spend.
Me check the caravan tab.
Gorilla Man forages, correct? I mean Bear Man. Sorry, not Gorilla Man.
Yeah. And Otacon forages.
We are indeed going to have to forage. We are, unless we want to eat our odd fruits.
So how many are we low?
We are out of supplies.
Completely out of supplies?
We are out of supplies.
I thought we had one extra.
Looking at here, we've got cart 1 has 5 sacks of odd fruit and 1 sack of autofac bioseed matter. Cart 2 has 1 sack of cash and 4 sacks of ghost goods. Cart 3 is empty. Cart 4 has 6 sacks of old tech bubble helmets.
That's fun.
So we've got so basically we've got two carts full. Well, basically we got 2 carts full and 1 cart mostly full of trade goods and no more supplies.
Well, luckily, as of last session, I believe my beetle horse now gives a bonus for foraging.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. And you have
points me in the right direction.
And you're an expert traveler as well. So. Great. So it sounds like we're going hungry right now, though, which is not a huge problem for 1 week. Running out of supplies is bad, it says. Cannibalizing the expedition is one option. You can forage for supplies, probably a better option. Or when you get to buying there, great. A week, you're gonna probably not be great at the end of the week, but you'll be hungry, but
or we could eat our odd fruits.
Let's not eat our profits yet. Let's let Modem.
Donkeys. Yeah.
Let's not eat our donkeys because we'll need those.
Yeah.
How does bear meat taste? I'm kidding. It's a joke. Just a joke.
You know, the bear.
The book does
Multiple
have rules
times.
on cannibalizing people, so let's just not go there. I
No.
think we might have. I think we've got a veil on that.
Per the rules, a human provides 1 sack of supplies, and
Wow, that's
a pack animal supplies 2. So, or a human-sized thing, we'll say.
I think we should forage.
Yeah. Cool. But before we get to foraging, let's whose turn is it to roll for a misfortune?
I think I rolled last, I believe, but can't swear by that 100%.
I'll do it. Let me just find it.
Say, I did the last. I don't remember what they were for, but it looks like looking at the
Oh yeah, because Monan got
the dice.
bad thing.
Right, looking at the dice roller, it looks like I made the last 2 rolls. So
17.
17. All right. Do you have a what do you call
Bonus? Traveler bonus?
Yeah.
I do have a
Oh.
so I have a traveler bonus of 3, and I have, would that be endurance or something, or
No, just straight up, I think.
okay.
But great. And it is red month, so there's no penalty for the weather. So yeah, it's hungry going. And so you're entering the biome of the Behemoth Shell. And it's getting less sort of scrubby steppe and more as you go west this direction. It is more kind of gently hilly, more cedar forest almost, which is pretty nice. But you are hungry, and one evening, as you are resting under a beautifully gnarled pine tree that must have seen several empires rise and fall, you feel a sudden lurch in your stomach as gravity momentarily distorts, and you feel almost frozen for a moment. And a little portal opens up in front of you, and a little rat man jumps out of the portal and says, "I've been sent here from the future to thank you for taking some time to go fishing tomorrow. These beads will compensate you." And drops 3 purple spheres into your palm and jumps back in the portal.
Whoa.
So that is your misfortune that happened.
Well, that just happened.
No time to explain. Take these out.
So wait, a guy, wait.
You said fishing tomorrow?
Yeah, this is to compensate you for going fishing tomorrow.
So we've got 3. So we've got 3 purple beads.
Yeah, Adiron now has 3 purple beads.
I guess we should watch out for fishing spots.
Let me roll for in. We're here.
Hate to disappoint a traveler from the future,
Traveling rat man.
but if he compensated us, that must mean we already did the fishing in the future.
In the future, yeah. But do you do the fishing in the future still?
I don't know. If we don't do the fishing, he's going to show up and take those beads back.
I think so, and who knows what else.
Let me roll this for you here. Great. Wow. Cool. Are you gonna go fishing after that?
I mean, I kind of feel compelled to.
Yeah.
I feel like we should. I mean,
And we are running low on supplies, and if there's a lake or a stream nearby that seems to have fish, that might be a good thing to do.
Yeah. Let's count.
is there only water fishing, or is there such thing as like sand dune fishing in the desert?
I'm not going to stop you. I don't know what you're going to get. There are lakes around this area though, so water fishing is definitely. And we can call that foraging for whoever wants to do that.
For sure.
I am not good at foraging, but
Let me show you how.
Yeah. And we'll call it. This is going to be your destination action technically, but we'll do the foraging roll up front here, and that will add your your traveler trait as well. So good
So
times.
my traveler plus my beetle horse.
Plus
Forger?
thought, I think, because beetle horse is not as good as a forager as you are. So you're gonna take
Oh,
you're gonna take the
gotcha.
higher one, which is
Okay, so it's just I got you.
but he could help someone else for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
You're helping him at this point.
So now that I'm an expert traveler, that's plus
6
6.
Okay.
plus thoughts.
Plus my thought, which is 2, so it's plus 8 total. God, Jesus.
Ooh.
God damn it.
Well, it's still a 9 if you were at plus 8.
Still a 9, and that will get you that'll get you 2 sacks of supplies. Would you like to add a hero die on there to get?
Oh, speaking of hero dice, do we get 2 hero dice
Oh,
back because
yeah.
it's a new session?
Yep, take
Good
2 hero
point.
dice up. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, because I was at 0. I used
Yeah.
all mine last time.
Rolling through them. So yeah, you can get 2 sacks of supplies, or you can add a hero die for more, or let it stand.
I'd be happy to throw a hero die in for that. I like food.
Cool. Yeah. Hope
I will spend a hero die and hope I roll higher than a 1. Rolled a 5.
a 5.
Taking
Great.
away-
That
That's
brings us to
5 times as good.
14.
14. That's technically 2 sacks of very good supplies, but we'll give you 3 sacks of supplies. Just sounds better.
Okay,
Yeah. So
sounds good.
you spend the day fishing, and I think as you've caught enough to survive for a while.
So I'm not even going to bother because we needed to spend 3 sacks of supplies. We just foraged 3 sacks of supplies. I'm just going to call it a wash.
Yeah. So these
We
beads,
immediately cook and eat them.
yeah. These beads, after the fishing happens, I think you get an intuition that these are beads of blessing. You can spend each one to make a failed roll a success, or you can consume all of them to raise a stat by 1.
Whoa.
And you're muted.
Till you muted.
We can
Till you muted.
Okay. So Aderon is going to distribute them. He's going to give 1 to each person in the party, including giving 1 to Otokar, because Aderon is in a bad mood. He doesn't want any blessing.
Great. And yeah, I don't think those are going to take up any inventory spots. They're marbles. So yeah, everyone mark down your blessing bead for your fishing.
So to raise a stat, someone would have to eat all 3, right?
All
Is that
3.
what you're saying?
Yes.
So Modan is the one fishing, right?
Yep.
Phaedrid, as that's happening, you so dumb. You hear a small voice. You double check that. Yeah. You hear a small voice swearing and it's coming from like your like where you've your tent or your camp or wherever you're holed up.
I will investigate.
Yeah. Goddamn son of a bitch.
Hello there.
What you see is a mole rat, probably about 9 inches. Not a naked mole rat, just a regular mole rat. And it actually has it looks like it's wearing little clothes. And it is tearing through your pack trying to find food, I think. It's like
Excuse me. Hello there. Can I help you?
oh shit. Food. I need food.
Yeah, we did too. We're kind of out.
The other one starved. I mean, they were gonna starve. Give us some. Fuck. Give me
Aderon
some food.
stumbles forward Hello, little friend.
I'm not your fucking friend.
Hello, little enemy. We will
Um,
get you some food if you can be patient.
Hey, I'm
Can
not
you
stupid. You
be
don't have to talk to me like a
patient?
baby.
I'm not talking to you like you're a baby. I'm currently a baby. I am cursed. One moment while I go acquire food for you. Adderall goes, walks out. I'll make a foraging roll.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna say, I mean, if these are mole rats, I mean, I can't imagine they'd eat all that much. So if we could like just give them like like a fish or two.
yeah, you get
19 on the die.
nice.
Ooh,
It's for
nice.
forage too. 18 on
Um,
the die, you said, and you've got plus
I don't
three.
have any bonuses. Oh, I have +3.
Got
Yeah, so
19 on the die.
Cool.
20, 22.
22. That'll get you four
So
sacks of food, four sacks of supplies.
Ooh.
Nice.
Adron
Jesus.
basically wanders into the bush and then comes back with a bunch of
Grocery bags, yeah.
you know what I do that. Yeah, nobody they come back with a bunch of roots
Mhm.
that are very easy to overlook and just piles them up in front of Phaedra, takes a little tiny root and hands it to the mole rat.
I think when you get like when you get close enough to hand the root to it, you see that like not only is it wearing clothes, but it does seem to have a lot of blood, dried blood caked on its front and mouth.
Right.
Ate,
Yes, it
he
eats
ate his
people.
buddies.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Mm.
Hmm.
Can I get a let me get a charisma roll from you, Adiron.
Adron?
Yeah.
Okay. Adron doesn't do charisma, but okay. Nope. 4.
That's
Yeah.
that's my department.
I think it does not thank you and just runs off and scurries away.
Adron sits back down at the campfire and
Well, that was interesting.
pulls their
Great.
crystal shell over them and goes to sleep for a while.
And Phaedra turns and is about to say, "Good job, like excellent job, Aderon," but you've like pulled your crystal over yourself and like like he'll Phaedra takes a few steps away from where Aderon has like encased himself in his crystal cocoon and like comes up to Modan and says, "Aderon's been different of late, hasn't he?"
Well, he did take on a great burden, and I know that because it was in me first, so I felt it. And by taking it from
There's
me,
that.
I don't know what it's doing or has done to him, but I think it's just he's dealing with some kind of, I don't even know if you call it a sickness or curse or what you'd call it exactly.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, I just don't know how to help him.
This is a good question. I mean, I think just, watching out, traveling with him, kind of a light touch, I think. Letting him know that I guess if there's anything that he knows we can do or assist him with, we are willing.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
And I think Adhikar is joining in on this conversation, and she says like you're not afraid of what might happen to him.
I mean, I am, but Aderon has been a loyal friend and has helped us out of many a sticky situation since we met his acquaintance. I am concerned about his well-being, and I guess I am a little bit afraid of like what the implications are.
This is true, but as naive as this approach may feel or seem in my travels with this caravan, it seems to me that what has worked best for us is almost always taking an approach that lends the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that's how my journey. I mean, when I first met you, Phaedra, I didn't know who you were, what you were about, if you were an enemy, if you're going to kill me in my sleep, but I just assumed the best. Then it worked out. And that, while that
And I
can
think
open you to potential dangers, I just feel like that's how you have to carry. That's the thing I feel we all have in common in this caravan. We carry ourselves through the grasslands with the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, we've all been through quite a lot together at this point. So, I mean, I complete, and I turn Spear's name again.
Dakar.
Ottokar. I turn to Ottokar and say, well, I mean, the three of us we've been traveling together for many, many months, and we have a high degree of trust that we've developed among ourselves. I am hopeful that as you continue to travel with us, that that level of trust will extend between us as well.
I've seen a lot of travelers in my years, and you most people in the grasslands are filled with fear out of experience or necessity, and oftentimes that does exhibit itself as a violence, which I've seen very little of from you, and I appreciate it. It's interesting, but I wonder if what is there anything that would strike fear into you? It seems that you travel, as you said, assuming the best of everything, and
Well, I mean, we're certainly not above violence. We are, look to my companions. We are certainly capable of violence. I know some battle magic. We
There is a
have,
reason I've been working on my fighting out of
we've,
necessity.
the thing we have, the creature we have, we've had several unfortunate encounters with Vomes, for example, and those are a sort of creature that I am very much afraid of. They are difficult to reason with.
some.
I mean, we met a whole caravan of them, and we thought that may very well
Yeah,
have been our end, but fortune was on our side in that encounter, and we made it out.
yes, and they did not.
You speak as if they're all one kind. I've over my years, I've found that Vomes are as varied as people are. Some
All
minded
right.
or two-minded together, and some
The
are quite
the
reasonable. And
the
some,
one the ones we've encountered thus far have been pretty much uniformly hostile.
I suppose, they types come in waves. And again, throughout the years, of what people consider Vomes might be different beings altogether over the course of generations. So someone might call these infected techno animals Vomes. Some others might call another formulation of something that's unknown and hostile or unfamiliar, and just
I mean,
give it a name and
I've certainly
shoot it.
back in my homeland, I certainly knew individuals that had that had techno magical enhancements, and they were not Vomes because they were still fully human, even though they had techno magical parts.
I'll also
I don't
tell
know,
them kind of the
the Vomes we've encountered have had have had some kind of a hive mind where they've been basically trying to assimilate other organic creatures into their hive mind, against their will.
I'll tell them basically the whole saga of Farfalla about,
Yeah.
like we met her. She tried to infect me, failed, but even then we did not try to kill her. We
Just
you know,
kept our distance.
we just tried to say, hey, we'll follow you to your destination. And it wasn't until basically she blocked us on a caravan road with a whole caravan full of foam and basically was like, join us or we're going to kill you, that we had to defend ourselves.
Well, that's
It's been
understandable.
our only really pitched battle, but we've had to use violence a few other times.
I understand.
Mostly a quick exchange, and we drove the hostiles off.
But it's definitely a last resort. I think we're all like-minded in that it's never our first choice of interaction, if at all possible.
That is wise. Otacon, tell me about your chrysalis. Or Aderon. Otacon is from Metal Gear Solid.
So basically, given what Aderon has learned about Plush's clay and the experience Aderon has had with becoming spiky and then also all sorts of different hardening things. So Aderon has learned how to like configure their flesh into crystal. So basically turns into a small, well, not small, but a ball of hard on the outside, chewy on the inside, with of course, a crunchy center. And what Aderon has been doing, and when we travel, Aderon's going to be like this in the back of a wagon most of the time. So Aderon is only coming out probably when we camp because Aderon's going to be present for things like watches and stuff like that. Aderon, so I'm still down for intelligence or for thought,
right.
And they're just trying to sort out their experiences as much as possible. And the crystal shell is primarily to just provide some safety while they retreat. And then when when it's time to come out, and it's conceivable that if you tap on it, Aderon is aware of that and can come out. So if they're like, oh, you need to come out and talk to toads or something, Aderon will do that.
Right.
So that's a basic idea. My thought was, and I actually came up with a possible way to work with my situation besides just suffering through it. But we probably need to get to a destination where I can ask some questions. And if we do that, then and I'll run it by you. It's not a solution to the problem. It's more like a way to reduce the current impact.
Yeah. Can I get another charisma roll from you?
Okay.
And it's gonna be a +3 for your rebuilder.
Okay, so it's a 15 total.
15. Great. I think one of the days that you're in the chrysalis, as the pulses don't stop, and it feels like there's definitely the voices aren't necessarily becoming clearer, but there's definitely a consistent tone to them. There's a very strong personality pushing through them. And it feels like originally it might have been trying to assert itself onto you. But I think at this point it's still very forceful, but it feels more of a probing than a domination. But still quite unpleasant.
Okay.
Great. We have made it to a destination, and that destination is the Behemoth Shell. The Behemoth Shell is on page 75. Let me paste a picture because it's a cool ass picture. So this is the Behemoth Shell. Note the small caravans at the bottom of the picture.
Ooh, that's really a behemoth.
It is. Um,
That's got to be 250 feet tall.
it is quite large. Is a mountain-sized calcite encrusted shell.
Trees on it.
That yeah, it has forests growing on top of it. Um, Big spiraled shell, and there it says a cross between a sea urchin and a conch. Um, and there are actually people living on and inside it, who are people.
So there's actually a settlement here.
There's actually a settlement here.
Well,
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, yeah. Let me get that. Great, we did that. Fantastic. Yeah. Would you like to do a discovery roll first off?
I would like to do a discovery roll.
Yeah,
Never mind me. That's just a flat D20. That's just a straight up D20 roll.
that D20.
I got a 14.
14. That will get you discoveries. That will get you a discovery. Which one though? Only three? There's only three. Great. Cool. Yeah, so how do you what would you like to do here?
Well, if there are signs of a settlement, I would like to, again, assuming that the rest of the party agrees, I would like to approach and, attempt to make peaceful contact, find out if there's a place to place to stay, and to, perhaps do some trading.
Yeah. Yeah, the people here call themselves the Great Folk. Um, very, very humbly. I have a little picture of one here. Here's a Great Folk. They have little robes that they think are very cool. Yeah, and they are otherwise human, as far as you can tell. They're not prince nor satrap. But yeah, there's a pretty extensive warren in here. Lots of chambers and passages, and folks would be happy to set you up in a camp for five cash a week each, or no, five a week flat for a safe camp.
5 a week for a whole caravan. Okay, well that's more than reasonable.
Yeah, and let me get a name for one that you can talk to here. A great one. Yeah, this great one's name is Dopital, just plain old Dopital. And they seem to be they're not like camped outside. Caravans do come through on occasion, but it's not a hub by any stretch of the imagination. But they seem to be sort of on the lookout for you, and like almost like as you approach, like wave you in. They're like, "Welcome, travelers," um, and they offer to be a guide to the shell. And they show you like, oh, you can hole up here, just a little bit of scratch, and yeah, if you need anything here, I would be happy to help you navigate the shell.
Well, we are certainly interested in learning more about it.
Yes, it is the greatest outpost in many miles in the entire region, I believe, except for Eden Heaven or Eden or whatever. No one, anyway. So, what do you need? Dopital is at your service.
Oh, fantastic! We were hoping to do some trading. We
Oh,
are low on supply to purchase some, and we also have some trade goods, and we're wondering if you might be interested in perusing our wares.
of course, of course. I can. I'm not a trader myself. I'm a mere concierge, but I can definitely point you in the direction of someone who might be interested for definite sure. Yeah. So let's do some trading. Do you want to haggle?
Sure, why not?
Great.
I will just sure I will do some haggling.
Cool.
Um,
That's a roll plus
s-
your merchant skill plus your charisma.
okay. Does I've been using advertising for
Yeah,
that, or would that not actually? Okay,
that's
cool. Okay, so I am an expert advertising engineer. My charisma is 2, so it's going to be +8 on the roll.
nice. And
I
boy,
rolled a
cheers.
10, so that is an 18.
Great. You can get some good deals here. What are you interested in? Definitely supply.
Uh,
Some supplies for sure.
I definitely want to buy supplies. I was looking at maybe selling off some of our. I'd like to. Are they interested in our odd fruits?
Oh, absolutely. The delicacy. They're
Well, I would like to sell.
Far East, aren't they? The from the Orange Lands or the needle of the world.
These these come to you. These come to you from the orchards of Porcelain Citadel.
Oh, Cherenkov cherries, I believe. And he's
Yes.
trying to he's trying to sound like he knows a lot of stuff, and these are clearly just words he's heard from other travelers that he's had no direct. Uh, he's a a caravan hipster. He's like, oh yes, of course I've heard about the Cherenkov cherries. Yeah, they would be happy to take those off your hands. What was the price on those? Or was that a
Their base price on those is 100.
great? And you have how many?
I have 5 sacks I'm willing to sell.
Great. They will, I believe. Yeah, you can unload all of those for 750.
Okay.
That's right. It's five sacks at 100, and
5 sacks at 100.
you are going to get you a 50% bump.
Okay. Yeah, this sounds like a deal.
And you can get supplies at like 6 or 7 cash each.
Okay.
Ah, so nice to be eating some real food.
Yes, the great folk are fantastic farmers. And there are like he kind of gestures out. I think the place that you've been set up in, clearly you are esteemed guests, and there's like where those little I think like maybe like a third of the way up, there's like little holes, little portholes on the front spirally part of the conch shell, and there's like nice not apartments, but hollows that they've appointed for travelers there. And I think you got a nice room there, and you can like gestures out over the land. And the great folk have farms nearby, and even some atop the shell. The calcium in the soil is wonderful for bluish bush berries. They grow quite well in this soil.
Know what kind of beans could be grown up there?
Beans, any kind of beans, I imagine. The great folk are wonderful producers of beans. We have the best beans in.
Get out! I'm a bean farmer.
Oh,
I'm a
you
bean
are?
entrepreneur.
I am not a bean farmer myself, but I've heard that the great folk are bean connoisseurs. In
Oh
fact,
my goodness
I'm
gracious.
sure you could find someone who would love to talk shop with you. Bean shop, that is.
Maybe get some trade routes set up or something.
Oh, trading your beans for our beans. Ambitious, but I'm sure they would be very amenable to that.
The great bean exchange of the Behemoth Shell.
Let's see. Yeah, so and I think the discovery you're going to get is it's 4 days out, 4 days to the southeast, so like back a little ways. 4 days southeast. And he keeps kind of referring to it as, heaven or Eden, the sort of that sort of language. I think Theodred, catches. I think they have their own dialect, and you catch that phrase probably from the Rosetta. You're like, oh, I know what you're talking there, and kind of talks about disparagingly, like, oh, like they think they're so great, but whatever. Um, yeah, they basically say it's like a perfect floating city that no one that doesn't want anyone in it for some reason. But I rarely travel from the shell, so I've only spoken to many esteemed guests like yourselves who have had very varied reports. Many wonders to be seen in these lands. Absolutely.
Interesting. That sounds fascinating. So this is the city of Eden.
That's not. It's doesn't translate. It's the
Okay.
ideal city, I suppose.
Okay.
Common.
It's like a floating city.
Uh, yes, floating, I suppose. That's what they say.
Okay. Interesting.
Hadron walks up. Does it have gas?
Does it have
Gas?
gas? The city?
Things that are gassy often float, and then walks off.
Huh. Um, Interesting. I don't guess. Sure. Well, I bet. I mean, if it's perfect, they must have everything there, right? Um, yeah. So, since we spent your foraging time, and that's technically from this trip here. So, and then the haggling there, great. Um, Otherwise, the folks here seem to be um between, there are hundreds of great folk here, and their attitudes range from standoffish to pretentious. Like Dopital, if they are friendly, they are like overly obsequious, and kind of know-it-alls. Not hostile, but not always pleasant. They do have they call themselves the great folk. It's unclear whether anyone else does. And they're mostly just farmers and merchants.
Got it. Got it.
Presumably rainbow landers who made it down here generations ago and decided to stay. I think you get the like the scuttlebutt is that like technically the shell is um claimed by the satraps. It's like in satrap territory, but the great folks say like this is clearly ours. Like we see traders come by and they don't seem to exhibit any sense of ownership. So finders keepers.
Fair enough.
Yeah, what else would we like to do here? Looking at our map, we can search for more discoveries, we can study, we can do some care, um, do some market research, carouse, or anything of your choice.
I think we should go look at the gassy city.
Gassy City.
Hey, I need to step off camera for just a sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah. In fact, let's take 5. It's been about an hour, so we'll think about what we're going to do next, and we'll see y'all at 40 after. We'll say. Cool. So we want to go to the ideal city. Is that the case?
Yeah, let's give that a try.
What?
See what's
How could we
there.
not with a name like that?
Yeah, yeah. How could you not?
It's
Um,
ideal.
yeah, it's ideal. And going's pretty easy now. It's it's late spring, early summer. This you find this area actually pretty pleasant. Like the wooded hills are aside from angry mole rats, pretty pretty nice. And it is not hard to find this place after a few days. Here it is. It is a you can see it from far off. It's not as big as the shell, but it is a good 100 feet tall, and it is what appears to be a like it looks like a if satraps didn't have spacesuits, you would swear that it was a giant satrap mummy almost. Um, but it is
So how tall is the giant satrap?
it's over 100 feet, 120 give or take. Um, but it is
Okay.
not moving. It is a stationary object. And in fact, as you approach it, it is clearly uh, partially ossified or fossilized. Um,
Are there like trees growing out of it and whatnot,
Yeah,
or
they're like coming out from under the helmet. There's stuff, and in the rib cage. It is probably not as old as the other behemoth shell, but it is definitely the same. Even though it's a very different shape, it is the same material. You've become quite familiar with since you've been
okay?
inside
So
one.
it's kind of like that calcified.
Yeah,
Okay.
like if a mummy was left in a limestone cave, kind of. But it appears to like have been kind of like stopped in mid stride almost, and it has these um tethers, these ropes, or cables that are holding this. It looks like a piece of the plane had just been dug. A giant spade had just like gone in and raised up this small city sized chunk of the field there, of the plane there, like a big plate, and you can tell it's almost like pulling at these cords, both up and whatever direction that happens to be, eastward, I guess. Um, but yeah, and there is this sort of glassy aquamarine bubble over the top, um, but you can clearly see like there are clouds or mists or haze of some kind obscuring in there, but there are definitely buildings inside that dome, and you can swear there's things moving in it. But it is a couple 100 feet in the air, floating on these cables.
Cool.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
There does not appear to be any way to get up there.
I mean, it would be quite the expedition up that guy.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But it is yeah.
So
No obvious.
Amaran,
There's no shuttles going to it or anything.
No.
Like,
There's no like ladder hanging. There's no like rope ladder hanging off of
There
it.
definitely is not. The clouds do kind of like, as you marvel at it. I mean, this is an awe-inspiring sight. You do like the clouds do tend to like rotate through colors. Like it's not just like here's some fog. It's like it does seem to have this like shifting prismatic pattern inside.
do you have any kind of portal magic or anything that could create a door or a hallway or?
I have magic that can open a door, but I don't have magic that can teleport us, or nor do I have magic that would allow us to fly. I don't really see a way to get up there. I was hoping there'd be the way Dopital was talking. I was assuming that there would be like some way to get up there. And
Indeed.
as talking with the more I talked with Dopatal, the more I realized that I don't think he's actually experienced much. He's just like retelling the tales that other people have told him.
That's a fair assessment.
Aderon has never tried this before, but Aderon, standing behind Phaedra as Phaedra makes a comment about, I have no way of making us fly. Aderon's like looking at themselves. Huh. And starts trying to reshape themselves into a flight form.
Yeah.
Ooh, a bird.
Let me get let me look at some description of the thing first. That's gonna be the active. Let me get a strength roll plus your flesh is clay.
Okay. My strength is 0, so that will be just my flesh is clay.
Well, you're at master, so that's what, +9?
+9. That's pretty good.
Oh, 14.
14. I think you are able to shape like glider wing membranes here. And it doesn't seem to be that difficult. They don't seem to be super effective at definitely not from taking off the ground. You get the impression you might be able to not die if you jumped off somewhere high, but it would be difficult to control.
Right. So what Aderon is going to do is Aderon is going to place the bat lion claws
Mhm.
in a hand, sort of like a bat
Mhm.
or pterodactyl configuration. And then Aderon's going to start trying to climb up the leg of the skeleton.
Oh, interesting.
And at first, Aderon will just climb up a little bit and then jump off and like practice gliding. And assuming Aderon is able to have some controlled descent, then Aderon will start climbing higher up, and we'll just see what happens from there.
Awesome. Let me get another strength check plus your I think just the strength check is going to do it.
Okay, final strength check. 14.
14. You are able to you're able to make it up to the knee pretty easily, I think. In fact, it looks like you're not the first one to have tried this. There are definitely spots that are worn, and even probably handholds that have been carved out. They're worn. They seem like they've been there for some time. When you fall, it's not necessarily controlled descent, but you can slow your fall enough so that you're not injured badly. You do feel like it's going to get more dangerous just free climbing like that, though. Pass. And I think Modon, like your expert wanderer, you can definitely tell people have made camp here. It seems like folks have, this is not a destination that no one has been to before. There are remnants of, clearly there's a campfire over here, and there's some ground that's been trampled on over here. With your expert traveler, you can see that, folks have probably tried this before, and it's unclear. You don't see any impact spots. So
I'm guessing Autocar could probably make pretty short work of it.
Oh, you know what? Autocar might be able to make get up. It's a bear.
Bears,
they can climb, man.
That's true. Autocar's not anyone's pet.
No.
Who would like to roll for
bear? I'll roll for Otto.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy convince to get up there.
Go exploring for us. Let us know what he finds. His roll is a 15.
Yeah, so he's a level 4 bear. So
is he expert at climbing?
No, unfortunately. But he is able to clamber up to the hips where that foliage is coming out. Kind of looks over and waves. There are advantages to my condition, surely.
wonder, could he like, I don't know, could he like take some ropes up there and like drop ropes down for us or something? Makes it easier for us.
Yeah, I mean, you have spots open in your everything sacks, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't ever used my traveler kit
Yeah.
yet at all.
That's a perfect place to get some rope from for sure.
I've been carrying this rope the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that you would have been.
It totally sounds like a traveler kit thing.
Yeah. Um,
Take that down to 9 slots, and now I got some rope.
yeah. I think if you
You might need more than one slot.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be like 6 slots worth of rope.
Ooh,
So like maybe two each to make something safe.
yeah. I mean, Aderon will definitely contribute some slots to this.
Okay,
project.
yeah, I'll give two. I'll give up 2 slots to. I'll give
Yeah,
up 2
alright.
slots to say I've been also carrying some rope.
Yeah.
And I think we would probably have thought to add rope to our gear when
Yeah,
we were.
for sure.
It does seem like a pretty
Shell.
basic. Whether or not we carry that much rope is another story, though.
Yeah. Let me get our expert traveler. Let's just make a thought plus traveler roll.
I thought plus traveler roll, so that's
This is a
plus 8 again.
Yeah, unless something disastrous happens, I think you're gonna be good.
How about a 1
Oh.
again? Jeez, man.
Hmm.
No,
So
you know
who-
what?
do you want to
No,
use?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hero die that.
Yeah, yeah,
because that
that's a good-
pisses me off.
That's a good call.
Twice now. I've got this giant plus, and I rolled a 1. Hey, a 5
Great.
on
So it's a
top of that.
6 plus your 8.
Oh wait, hold on. No, the D6 was only a 2. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So
I
3
accidentally
plus
rolled the D20 again.
8, 11. 11 is what I was looking for. So great. I believe it was 11, right? Yeah, 11. Cool.
rolls.
So it does take some effort and some time. I think, yeah, I'm going to add an extra day for, it takes a while to, both make this sturdy and safe. You can see why people have camped out here before, for sure. But I think in the late morning the next day, the end, I think everyone is kind of accustomed to sleeping late at this point. The violet fog that kind of comes at night doesn't really lift until like 11 in the morning. So the sun doesn't really feel like it comes out until like almost noon now. But you can keep a schedule. And I think by the time the sun comes up, you've fashioned something relatively safe that will take you up to the ropes there. And then it's just a simple matter of clambering up those ropes, right? A bear is going to have a harder time with those than with a solid surface, I think.
Yeah.
But you might not. But you can definitely get up to in fact, oh yeah. Let me make a couple rolls for fun here. What do we want there? Yeah, interesting.
I could plant some beans in them crotch bushes and
good.
have famous unique beans from the crotch bushes of the ideal city.
Actually, let me find some good stuff here. So there's that space like under the helmet that has plants growing out from under it. And again, you can kind of tell it's pretty clear to anyone who is any traveler at all that folks have made it up that far before, and have in fact made camp there, and have in fact left a cache of equipment. I would like
Is there a way into the helmet?
Yeah, I mean there's
Yeah.
plenty of space.
Oh, okay.
To get in.
Okay.
It's-
And that's where this cache of equipment is
Yeah.
inside the helmet.
Yeah. Let me make a little roll here. Yeah. You find there are some weapons, some basic survival gear, I think there's going to be a couple sacks worth of supplies up there, even.
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm going to say, unless you want to use the weapons, I think they're relatively standard, and there's probably like um,
Like a
400 cash worth of assorted weapons and armor. If you want,
if we wanted
a
to claim it.
gun or something, we can pull something out of there. But yeah. You can grab those if you want. It is clear that someone stashed it here, whether it was someone who made camp up here with the intention of coming back, or someone who made camp here and went up and did not come back down. They've been here for a while, you can tell.
Okay. Is there anything like a harness that we could use to like attach ourselves to this rope?
You could make one.
That way, if we fell, we're not going to fall. We're not going to fall 100 feet to the ground. We're just going to be dangling from this rope.
Who would like
Climbing gear.
some harness? Yeah, fashion a harness. I recommend it be either Phaedron or Modan. Probably Modan, I guess.
Would Traveler come into play on this, or
play with that? Yeah.
I kind of figured.
Yeah. If you're interested in fashioning a harness, go ahead and give me a Traveler plus thought.
Once again, 19 total.
Yeah. I think you are able to fashion harnesses for at least the three of you. I think Adhikar is like,
yeah,
he's good. I think
I'm good here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guard this stuff.
I'm gonna curl up in this helmet and take a little nap. I think because it's been a long day and change of climbing and messing around. I'm gonna make sure this is safe and make sure these supplies are still good. Yes. So we have safely fashioned the thing. I would like an agility roll from everyone to get up for anyone who's going up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Oh, agility is not my strong suit, but
This is going to be an easy roll, so I'm just looking for a 7.
okay. Well,
Ooh.
ooh, I made it.
Ooh,
Just made it. 8.
11. Great. Great. It is not easy going, but it is going, and you are able to eventually kind of clamber your way up there. It's kind of like reverse zip line. Kind of, you're like wrap something around, pull yourself up, wrap something around, and pull up while that one's still anchored. So it does take some doing and strength. It is, 70, 80 feet of like 45-degree rope climbing. But you are eventually able to make it by late afternoon and get up to this plate of aerolith floating there with this
This dome on it.
dome, this aquamarine dome.
Does it look like there's a way in? Now that we made it up here?
You don't see a clear opening in the dome.
Is the dome? Oh, I'm not going to touch it because, well, I'm not dumb, but
I'm gonna smash it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not smashing.
Is there like something up here, like a stick that I could pick up and try to
We
poke at it?
definitely have something. The stick, there is some resistance, but it does pass through. It's like almost like a membrane.
Okay.
I don't know what walk.
And then when I pull the stick back out, the membrane just kind of like seals shut again.
Yeah. And even when you stick it in, there's like a little of the whatever's inside, and definitely when you pull it out, there's a little like puff. It smells. It smells like farts. It smells very like sulfury and bad.
Yeah,
The
Adirondack.
stick does? You mean after
The,
going
the,
through the
the,
membrane?
for, like,
The gas that comes out.
Oh, okay.
yeah, Adiron was not
So that-
far off.
That mist is not steam, it's sulfurous.
It is something, yeah. And so closer up here, you can definitely see through this translucent field. Um, there are trees. It seems like almost like a park inside,
Mm.
and there are some buildings, and you can see in the center there's some structure with a glowing at the top, and that glowing shifts colors um, through the prismatic spectrum.
Well, that's interesting.
So am I
I
allowed to go through or not?
I mean,
well, I was going to probably like tie a bandana around my face
Yeah.
against the smell, and
Aderon, when Aderon saw what happened with the stick, Aderon's like, okay.
let's
I'd
go.
have to come back
yeah,
with some breathing gear. I guess we'll find
yeah,
out.
well, I mean, I don't have a respirator or anything like that. I'm just gonna like tie a handkerchief over my face, and yeah, I guess I'll push through the membrane and go inside and see what happens.
Wait.
If it's
Oh.
if this gas is like toxic, well, I'm gonna immediately like once I start choking, I'll like pop back out.
I
But
was thinking, I was thinking we should tie some ropes to y'all, and if y'all drop, I can pull you back out through the membrane.
that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. And someone has you have bonus versus poison. You do great.
I do have bonus versus poison. I am resilient.
Great.
I'm
So
skilled in that even.
is Aderon or Phaedra going in first?
I think Aderon already said he went.
I think
in.
Aderon said he'd
stormed right
already
in.
like he's just like
Great.
goes right in while Phaedra is like trying to get himself ready.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Let me see if there's any here. I'm gonna need an endurance roll for sure.
Yep. Ooh, that's a 6 total.
That's a 6 total. Ooh. Yikes. Let me roll a couple dice.
You've got 3 hero dice, my friend.
I know. I'm thinking.
Well, that's not great. So I think the air is foul, not only foul smelling, but toxic, which is immediately apparent as soon as you inhale.
Right.
With that roll, you're going to take 3 endurance damage.
Ooh.
Would you like to? I mean, it's going to be a hard roll, so I'm looking for a 15. So that would be some hero dice.
Right. No, what Aderon will do is probably Aderon will be dropped. Like Aderon will step through and then turn around to say, "Oh, it's fine," and just basically like
Yeah.
off the ground. But I would like to try to make a flesh mastery roll to sort of compose myself with a little crystal protection and then crawl back out.
Yeah, I don't think you need a roll for that.
Okay.
Yeah. You do still take that damage though.
Yep.
That's immediate poison. And I think, and the other thing you specifically feel as soon as you pass through the barrier is the voice is quiet.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, that sort of correlates with something else I had been thinking. Okay.
Which
So
you realize when you come out and the scream starts again.
yeah, right. Lovely. I just love the screams.
You learn to live with them as a background music.
It's not the radio station I would have chosen,
But you did.
but I did. That's true. It is absolutely the one I chose.
Phaedra, are you still interested in trying to get in there?
Once I saw what happened with Aderon once he went in, like immediately started choking and like collapsed.
Mhm.
No, I'm not particularly interested in going in. Like if we did like tie ropes, if he did have a rope tied to him, well, I'll try to like help pull him out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I moved before then.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think we had a chance. While we were discussing our plan, he had just went in.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Like Phaedron was starting to tie the rope around his waist when like Adam just walked in.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Aderon says, I think that if we could allow the bad air to escape, it might improve things. And then lies down and curls up into a shell.
But we don't know, like, if there's things living in there that's what they breathe, then we could be harming something else's habitat. What if is there like basically where this bubble is? I take it, since we're standing outside it, that there is some kind of like rim outside the bubble.
Yeah, there's a good, depending on where you're standing, like dozen
Yeah.
feet of rock.
I'm just wondering if we should maybe just like examine the whole perimeter just to like see what all we can see inside.
Yeah, if there's anything of value that's just inside that we could conceivably, take a sample of or something like that.
Or a being that we might be able to converse with or something.
I think it's pretty much the same view from any angle. The park, like the wooded almost area, goes very close to the perimeter, not right up to it. But yeah, basically it's Central Park looking, with buildings in the middle.
I wonder if we could get
And
us some...
filled with like horrific toxic
like
air
that poison
pollution.
gas. Yeah,
We need respirators.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that the plants inside actually look healthy.
they do. Very, yes.
Yeah. So to Monad's
they're-
point, this is a biome. It's just not a biome that we're comfortable with.
Yeah, that was Phaedron's reaction as well. These are like, looking through, do these plants and things that are growing there, do they look like really alien?
No, they look like even more normal than the plants out here. Like, like a city planner would have selected these for like optimal symmetry and pleasantness. Minus the poison gas, it does look like something you would see in one of the large cities that is very manicured.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like a manicured city park.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could do ethically a controlled experiment
You can do it
toward Aderon's comment about, like, I don't know if there's possible
Try to vent some of the gas.
Yeah, just right at an edge and like see if the plants start reacting or wilting, or does it have a bad effect on the plants for us to let that gas out?
Oh, so if we like put like if we like put some like a tube in there to like try to breach the membrane to let some of the gas out
without draining the whole thing.
Passing through it physically, it feels less like a physical membrane and more like a almost reminds you of like the static field around the Sarai, only stronger. So
okay,
it's more of a field than a physical like membrane.
Oh,
So
okay.
it would have to be either a neutral or a charged tube to be able to maybe do that.
Got it. So if we stuck a tube in there, it's probably just going to like fill in the center of the tube.
Yeah.
So Aderon does have some scrap iron from the iron place, because that's a really good source of vitamins. And so it's possible I might have a rusty ferrous tube. We at least try and see if it works.
And of course, we might not. Whatever's producing the gas in the biome might be producing it faster than we vent it, and
We could vent it. That is true.
Well, I think the tower is producing the gas.
What was that, Mark?
Just poison the landscape.
Yeah. And this is how we poisoned the entire world.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea. But I would like to try that. I probably do have like some thin old metal.
Yeah, and I think as expected, it does, like the field does block in the middle of it. So it's
Okay. Well, looks like this is looks like this is a dead end for exploration. We don't really have respirators.
Yet.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could conceivably find some
So
and come back.
is there anything in there that looks appealing? Do the trees have fruit, for instance, that might be interesting, or
They
we're merchants?
I believe yes. And even with your regular travel skills, I mean the trees themselves look very, very appealing. You know, if you like press close to the edge of the field and kind of peer through, you can see A, movement in the trees, um, and B, some luscious looking fruit hanging on some of them.
So if Adron made concerted effort to hold their breath, could they slip in, grab a piece of fruit, and slip back out?
You could try.
Okay. I will try that because
Phaedra does have poison resistance.
that's true.
I was
But
going to say, I was also thinking that I might give exactly that a try. If we're like walking around and we see some that's pretty close to the edge,
mhm.
like, Phaedra would like, again, like tie the thing around his,
Just
but
in case you
take
drop, we can pull you out.
take a very deep breath outside, pop in, go over to try to get, quickly pick a couple of these fruits, like stuff them in a bag, and then turn around and like walk back outside without inhaling.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Give me an endurance roll plus you're resilient.
Endurance plus resilience. My endurance is 0. My resilience is 3. So that's going to be a roll plus 3. And I got a 16.
16. I think that will yeah, it's a hard roll. It's not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. The
But favorite can breathe this without, not
I,
really.
I think the small breaths that you do take are painful and unpleasant. So you try not to breathe so much. They seem like the effects are mild. There's some coughing, there's some nausea, even some itching, I think. And I think you realize as you like dart towards the tree, and like you can probably like jump and grab one or two fruits. Um, you realize as you make that quick trip, it's, maybe 15, 20 feet, sprint back and forth. Um, the it's not just the air that's poisonous. It appears that the trees may also be coated with some sort of toxin or venom or poison.
Okay.
Just looking around, like everything looks idyllic, except you can see this kind of sheen on a lot of rocks and trees and stuff. Um,
Okay.
the other thing, when you jump to grab the fruit, there is screaming, howling from the trees, clearly from some sort of bird or monkey or something that is really unhappy that you're there. It's an alarm. It's not an attack yet because you're being very quick. But you do grab these fruits, and they are like large, like almost like these ribbed, like magenta eggplant things, that feel firm. It's hard to tell in here because everything kind of smells like poison and farts. Um, but you can get out.
Yeah, I'll get out with these 2 fruits and
Um,
then.
yeah, like wipe off whatever you manage to touch. The fruits themselves seem to be okay. They are firm and they smell kind of like
If we wash them off, like pour
yeah,
some water on them or something like that.
jasmine and papaya almost. It's they smell very, very good.
Hmm, okay. This might be the sort of thing that we could like, plant the seeds or something like that. But yeah, we're probably not going to be going in there and harvesting a bunch of these fruits.
Seems like a bad idea all around. Just seems like a
Yeah.
bad place.
Oh, and
Yeah, this
inside you do see there's some large something in the middle of the park, a building that has
yeah,
this.
you did say that there were buildings in there that are too far in for us to investigate without having to breathe a whole lot of these toxic fumes.
Yeah, and the whole thing's maybe like 150 feet across.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's not gigantic.
but it is, it's not small.
Got it. Got it. We need some kind of breathing apparatus in order to really fully explore this place.
And even then,
And maybe we'd want to be wearing gloves because
Yeah.
it sounds like
Some
everything is
sort of
covered with
hazmat
contact
setups.
poison.
Yeah,
and animals will probably attack us if we stay too long.
yeah.
Yep. This seems like a bad place. So let's maybe take our fruits, and as much as it took a whole lot of effort to get up here, maybe it might be time to head back while it's still sunlight, because I don't know if I want to spend the night up here.
Ideal city, my ass.
I mean, it's up here is probably the safest place to be, honestly.
That's true. That is true. We're probably safe up here. I mean, unless things that are inside the dome decide to get us.
Come out.
But yeah, I mean, like camping in the helmet. I'm gonna say like both of you travelers, especially your expert. It's gonna be very safe, I think.
Yeah. Why don't we go back to the helmet and like camp there for the night?
Cool. You can definitely do that. Great. And the next day you can head back if you like.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You said there's like a couple of sacks of supplies that we could conceivably
Yeah.
grab.
There were did I say 4 sacks of supplies up there? Maybe. Let's say it's 4. 4 sacks. No, I think it was however many sacks I said. It was 2, 3, or 4.
I think.
Remember.
Yeah, I think you said 2 sacks of supplies, and there was
400.
2 sacks of supplies, and then there was like also like some other like some value, some cash value worth of other stuff.
Yeah, supplies 400 worth of weapons and gear.
Yeah.
Of course, now that I'm looking back at our caravan sheet, I've maxed out, so maybe we'll just. I mean, if there's like a thing or two we wanted to take, but we don't really have any caravan space left because I bought enough supplies to fill our caravan.
Is that
maybe
considering?
I mean, we could have. I mean, I guess back in Behemoth Shell, I guess we could have conceivably tried to buy a 5th cart and another donkey, but we didn't.
You can also overload the things. It will slow your travel though.
Well, I also do. What about my beetle horse? I never even thought of it.
Oh, that's true. You can probably. I think your horse can carry. I think a horse can carry 2 sacks. So yeah, if you want to take, yeah, okay. Why don't we take the 2 sacks of supplies then? I will put that on the caravan sheet.
Aderon's going to make a suggestion that we take 1 sack of supplies and 1 sack of weapons. Because if anybody else climbs up here, they might get stranded here for a while, and it would be unkind to leave them with no food.
I like that. I like that train of thought. So yes, we'll take 1 sack of supplies and we'll take 1 sack of like
goods
stuff.
Yeah.
Goods.
Yeah.
Is anybody else climbing up here? They're probably bringing their own weapons.
Possibly.
Question: are you leaving the rope ladder there?
I mean, I kind of think I like my rope. I think we could use the rope.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll take our maybe we'll like once we I think maybe let's take our rope back.
Yeah.
And we don't know other people's intentions, so sort of making it easier for someone to do who knows what.
Yeah. So I think the 6 slots worth of rope you have crafted into 2 slots worth of rope ladder, we'll say.
Oh, okay.
So it's you can still carry that. Looks like you have space for that.
Or that could be the 2 slots on my horse.
Well, two of your slots, 2 stones.
Oh.
Two item slots on your.
Yeah.
2 item slots in your traveler's kit.
Yeah. Item slots for stones. Sacks are the big cargo things.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I was just trying not to fill up all my slots because that would fill up.
Yeah, what I did was what I did on my character sheet was I just have a line that says like small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like stuff that's like like that weighs like a soap.
Yeah,
It's like 10 soap to a stone.
or your marbles or whatever. Yeah, you got plenty of space there. Great. Yeah,
Well, so yeah, because I don't have the rope anymore. Because now it's
rope ladder
so rope ladder would take up 5 and 6. Is that what we're saying?
would take up 5 and 6. Yeah. Cool. And so you can safely make it back to your rooms at the Shell, or you can sally forth. Your call.
I would be happy to sally forth. What do you folks think?
Yeah, I feel like there's not more adventure here to be had without. I mean,
What
without going
is our
somewhere,
goal?
getting respirators, coming back. I mean, it's a whole thing.
Mhm.
If we wanted to investigate more, I think.
Um, Point of timing. It is Red Month 4, and there will be a bean delivery to the last Sarai in 2 weeks. With cash for you, probably.
If I could tell you another point of order, looking at our caravan sheet, we've got 2 pets for characters that aren't with us anymore.
We do, yeah.
So I'd like to replace one of those with Modan's beetle horse, and I guess the other one we can just like remove for now.
Yeah. And Apate will be back in a couple weeks. So
Oh, okay. So
we'll
we'll keep that one there.
we'll leave the donkey and we'll say that is with what was his name? Oh, back in the Citadel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, we have a base in the. Oh, okay, right. Because we also have the base in the Last Sarai.
Yeah.
So uh, Aderon currently is gassed, has nightmare dreams, and uh, needs some sort of help or advice
You
of
know,
Honoric kind.
maybe we should go back to Behemoth Shell and spend another week just so that we can like rest up and whatnot. Because Aderon's really hurting,
Mhm.
and I'd also like to take some time to like study my Rosetta Stone.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, also other quick point of order, Mark, the other like kind of sack of like stuff we got,
Yeah.
like what's the base value of that?
Of the that was
Like the sack of like other equipment,
yeah, that was 400.
400. Okay.
Yeah.
So another thing is well, okay, I'm gonna voice this as Aderon.
Yeah.
The fruit is very interesting, and it could be that the great farmers at the Shell would know what to do with it. But if not, the Sarai has some skilled uh, biomancers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we could pick up my money from the Sarai. Well, we're getting you some help there.
Well, we could turn back, I guess. Although ultimately I thought we wanted to make it all the way to the Black City.
Yeah, I mean that's a question. We're gonna have to keep. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense if we have to keep coming back to the Sarai all the time.
I mean, we
Never
do
get anywhere.
have. I mean, we do have our. I mean, we do have an outpost representation, and what's his name? Our ape accountant is like running the show there.
Mhm.
We've also had we also have the services of like Pookie and Mook handling like contractual transfers back to the Rainbow Lands.
Mhm.
The Black City is very far away.
Yes, that's why we want to go there. But perhaps heading back to Behemoth Shell and spending some time there might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
Just, I mean, it's not the most interesting place in the world, but it's safe, and we can, we can like take some rest act. I mean, Aderon could take a rest action.
Mhm.
Adrian, what do you know of Delways?
What do I know of Dullways? Well, I know that they're a kind of portal that allows you to like magically to like move extra dimensionally from point A to point B. They're dull, hence the name. There's not a lot going on in there. There's not a lot to see, but in general, they're considered to be very, very safe. So you're not going to be exposed to weather. You're not going to be exposed to bandits, but it'll take you about as long as it would to travel there overland.
Mhm.
Is it possible that a Delway would allow me to not listen to the screaming?
Ooh.
That is it possible? Yes. It may very well, since it's an extra dimensional space, it would likely cut you off from. I can't say for certain, but it would likely cut you off from whatever psychic energy is trying to work its way into your mind.
And I think being an expert wizard, I think you can be fairly confident in that knowledge.
The
Are you
considerations,
are you considering going back to? Are we considering going back to Waystone?
my concern is that I am a less cheerful companion when voices are screaming in my head. And the not perfect city did ease that somewhat, but I wonder if the dull way would make it even easier.
Can I get a thought roll from Aderon?
Okay. So I'm going to do this at 0 thought
Yep.
since I'm still impacted.
Yeah, might
Ooh,
be.
20.
20.
Ooh,
Great.
nice,
Natural 20.
nice.
So when you say that, um, how to put this?
The voices don't like it?
Um, you I think the voice is quiet for a moment, and that allows you like a moment of clarity to realize that. So actually, let me ask you first. What is your theory as to why the voice is quieted when you enter the city?
Um, my assumption was that the barrier attenuated their power.
Yeah. And I think as the voice is quiet for a moment, you realize that it was not the barrier that was blocking the voices, but something else inside that was pushing the voices away. And in fact, probably the thing that was at the center with the glowing light.
Hmm.
And I think, I mean, since you got a 20, I think in that moment of, I think it is blessed silence, in fact, not just quieting, you hear a different voice. It's a more like resonant, deeper voice. And it just says, it's like a giant gong ringing. And it just says, perfect. And when that, after the sort of ring from the gong goes away, then the other ones fled back.
Ooh. So with this new knowledge, um, Aderon turns to the group and says, I have been gifted with an insight. I may need to spend time at the imperfect city, which is perfect, in order to balance the personalities currently participating in my corporeal existence.
When you say the imperfect city, which is perfect, Phaedrid looks up at the floating city here. Do you mean stay here?
I would need some way of surviving inside the city, but yes.
So, out of character.
Mhm.
So like, Phaedrid thinks about this for a moment, and so between wizard, so between the skills at wizardry, you know, um, and and like at least one of the spells that he knows, the book of the book of Hellesthetics,
Mhm.
which is his healing spell,
Mm.
um, and like his general knowledge of Onerics, would Phaedrid be able to like build some kind of respirator device that would allow the would like filter out the poisons and allow Aderon to hang out in there for some period of time without, dying?
Not with what you have at hand now. I think with the resources of a larger settlement, you could probably track down something that would
Okay.
help with that.
So basically we'd have to either find another settlement ahead of us or turn around and go back to the Sarai.
Mhm. And you know that you don't know exactly where it is. I mean, you have the map, I guess, so you do know where it is. But the Spectrum Palace is south a ways of the satraps. It is
Oh, that's true. One,
it is it is quite a ways down, but it is down here.
two,
It's
three,
four.
four, five,
It's about 2 months travel,
six,
probably.
seven. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's going to be like 7 weeks travel.
So, and none of the smaller communities would be able to provide the supplies,
And
or
so and so probably like going back to Behemoth Shell, they're not going to have what I'm looking for.
Well, it would be very difficult, I think, to find.
now are these supplies primarily magical, or is it also fashioning like a physical component?
I think a bit of both, if I'm understanding you right.
If Aderon could work, so Aderon started the process of learning how to shape chitin.
Mm-hmm.
If Aderon could improve their skill at chitin shaping, or I was thinking maybe shift from chitin to crystal because I have crystal more easily available.
Mm.
But could Aderon, if they could raise their skill up to a full skill point, then be able to create the structure that Phaedric could enchant?
Or alternatively, does Phaedrid know enough to try to like come up with some other way to quell the voices in Aderon's head?
Yeah. Um,
Again, between the magics that he knows and his general knowledge of wizardry and his knowledge of like whatever stuff that he still has from from Oneric's.
yeah. So the Onerics is interesting. I think from what you know of like the intersection of Onerics and the noosphere stuff and magic, whatever that might be. Um, and from what Aderon told you, this the voices seem to be a just a relentless torrent of ba energy, like personality force,
Yeah.
a demiurge probably.
So yeah.
Um, and the only thing that is probably going to counter that is another equally powerful personality force, which feels like is what happened.
Right.
Okay, so it feels like there's one up in the floating city, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's your current working theory, yes.
Hmm. So if we could conceivably,
Actually, I have a question. Are we where are we having this conversation? Are we still in the
I'm
below
thinking
shell?
we haven't really started moving on. I'm guessing I'm thinking I'm thinking that we're probably at this point like on the ground,
Like packing up, ready to go.
packing up at our original camp.
Hmm.
We've met up with our bear friend and we're packing up our stuff, ready to like. Phaedrid was suggesting we turn around and go back to Behemoth Shell and like rest for a while because we've just had a rather unpleasant experience up there. But
Is it possible that I don't have to be inside the sphere to get some benefit from the perfect city?
that's what I was thinking. If we could somehow make contact with make psychic contact with that
Yeah.
entity.
If I mean, we could try it from the lower bubble first, and if that didn't work, maybe get up on the platform itself. If you'd be willing to at least spend a day or so for us to give this a try, that might be a very
Absolutely.
good.
Yes, absolutely. If that's okay with you, Modan, I would be absolutely. I think that's a. Yes, that
I'm
seems like
just
the most promising way to try to deal with your problem.
although I am concerned about it seems there should be a third option that does not require some entity living in Aderon's head.
Well, I mean, ideally, I would like to come up with a way to get the voices that are relentlessly pounding on your mind to, to stop, to direct their attention elsewhere, or to create some kind of barrier that would prevent them from continuing to,
My
I
my
mean, something happened, Adoran, something happened to you that opened up your mind to these voices.
but my goal is not to shut out the past. My goal is to be able to mediate with the past. I just require time to understand how to do that.
Okay. So maybe talking with another powerful psychic entity would yeah, maybe some other psychic entity would indeed be able to help mediate this, because it sounds like whatever is trying to enter your mind is overwhelming you.
It is, and it is also, in my experience, itself overwhelmed by grief and a sense of loss of control in its life. And as I am a quite calm individual, I feel I could possibly benefit it.
I am willing to give that a try if you are.
Um, Out of character, I think. Well, with again with Faderd's knowledge, I think what was it? The comparison might be like if a Greek god is plaguing you, you're suggesting going to talk to another Greek god to help you out.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that level of
It might not work. It might make things worse.
risk, I
But
suppose.
it's clear that if you have one god plaguing you, you are not going to find your solutions in the local coffee shop.
And even if it works, doesn't work, whatever happens, it's gonna be
It
interesting.
sure is.
It is very interesting. Maybe Aderon will be forced to live as a mad hermit on top of this platform for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
Just
hopefully
something to
you
think
won't have to be.
about for the
Sorry, go on.
future. I'm not against this plan. If this is what Aderon wants to do, I support anything Aderon wants to do, and I will participate in any way, shape, or form. Maybe for future plans, find ways to strengthen Aderon's own sense of self to defend against outside. Maybe some kind of, just as this static shield, if we could static shield Aderon's being from others' influence, maybe a long-term future goal.
But how would I learn new protocols if I was not open to other beings?
Well, there's being open to other beings, and then there's being open to other beings. Kind of a difference.
For example, what if you were able to communicate with those voices, hear what they had to say, feel what you have felt in your interactions with them, then shut that off and be just Aderon to process all that and incorporate it into yourself from the knowledge. And right now, it feels somewhat like those voices are akin to a parasite, where maybe not malicious, just as most parasites aren't malicious, they're not evil, they're just trying to survive. But nevertheless, these beings are violating your person, and while I'm sure you would voluntarily host someone, even if that was not in your best interest, it's not like you were really given a choice in this matter.
I believe I did invite the conversation, but you make a good point that in all negotiations, there must be time for contemplation, which I currently lack.
But again, if you still want to experiment with, we don't know what this other voice is, I mean, you know me, I'm always up for a good experiment.
May I suggest that we try this in such a way that I am up on the platform by myself when we actually make contact, or with Phaedrid, and that the rest of the party is lower down, so you have a better chance of surviving.
Maybe
I'll keep Otacon company.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Just in case this little plan draws the ire of whatever is in the city, and
or both sets of voices. Maybe they both will be angry at me.
And then another thought that crossed my mind, and this is sort of like an out of character question about game mechanics, and that is, like, how do you come up? I mean, is it possible to kind of come up with like new spells and whatnot?
Yeah. I mean,
and how would you do that? Because I was wondering if there would be a way to maybe Phaedrid could come up with a spell using Oneric's spell to create a spell which was shielding of the mind or something like that.
I have
those that were under the spell were kind of immune to basically immune, or had a really big bonus against psychic attack.
Yeah, and so two answers. One, you can make up whatever spell you want. It'll just take the normal spell learning mechanics. There are also wards, wearable or portable wards that can help shield versus various kinds of psychic or soul or personality attacks.
Like a tinfoil hat.
I believe there may be a tinfoil hat on the list in that book somewhere. But yeah, something along those lines.
Another conceptual idea. Again, I'm just the idea man, no idea. It's just some things for you to mull about in your recipe of possibilities. What if Aderon, in this, when you guys go do this, what if Aderon was able to, for example, if I know Aderon and I knew Phaedrid and you didn't know each other, I could be like, Aderon, meet Phaedrid. Phaedrid, Aderon. I'll leave you two to talk. What if it's possible to connect these two entities and then let them talk to each other without Aderon in the conversation?
Ooh, I like that idea.
Again, just an idea, not sure if it's even possible. Just thinking out loud in these interesting times.
From what I know of the Rebuilder, I am not sure that another being of the Rebuilders peer set, would be happy with the Rebuilders' current choices in
Disposition.
managing their discomfort.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But you make a very interesting point. So out of character, why don't we can we spend a week to recover in and study and stuff inside the lower dome? And then after we spend that week, maybe beginning of next game session, we can move on to actually trying to interact with
Sure. Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I am cool with that.
Yeah. So you want to spend a week in the wild?
yeah, but in the lower dome, which is
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, basically we'll spend a week camped out basically here.
Yeah. Yeah. You can. And I think this is a relatively safe area. Um, so cool. Let's do a week then. It's actually going to be 2 weeks because we have 7 days banked up.
okay.
Okay.
So let's spend
So let's
supply.
spend 2 weeks of supplies.
And let's do one misfortune roll first. Whoever would like to do.
I can do a misfortune roll. I don't think I've rolled out all that much this session.
Yeah.
That's a 13.
A 13. Um, yeah, I think the only less of a misfortune and just like the more time you spend underneath this I mean, this I think it's safe to call this another behemoth. Just like the scale of it kind of especially like lying awake at night kind of staring up at it or staring down from it if you're in the dome, just like giving you a sense of like the scale of this journey that you're on. Like the vast lands are or the grasslands,
Fast.
this the corpse of this giant thing that is impossibly old and powerful, and the prospect of contacting something equally um, as mentally giant as this thing is, or the behemoth shell is. Um, yeah, just a sense of a little existential dread. Nothing mechanical. Let me roll an encounter for you, if there are any. Interesting. Yeah. Is anyone foraging while we're this week?
I think we're just like eating the supplies we brought.
Mm-hmm.
Autocar, I
If we
take
w-
it probably always forges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, and Ottakar probably comes back with um I don't think he would bring back the bones, but just like reports of like um it seems like there's some pack predators in the area. I haven't seen them. I've seen evidence of their kills. Um, so just keeping an eye out for
Like in the helmet.
in the general area, like if he's been out
Okay.
foraging for himself. He's like there might be some predators out. Nothing to worry about yet. From the nature of their kills, they seem like they may be like starving or weak. But yeah, nothing to be concerned about. Cool. We can do some rest now. Rest. Any PC who does nothing all week can either recover all missing life, completely recover one stat, or remove a burden. An appropriate burden that is not. Yeah. Yeah.
So Adoran's going to recover their endurance.
Cool.
I figured the mind. Well, maybe not. Maybe it should be the mind. Nah. I think the mind is going to be troubled for quite a while.
Anyone else need to heal life or anything? Or you can do any other wilderness actions, camp actions, forage, care, study, hide, ambush.
I mean, I
I'm
don't need to do anything else, so I might as well forage just because I might as well do something useful, right?
Yeah,
so I'm going to do some studying.
cool. Let's do the forage roll first. So that's thought plus traveler.
18 plus 8. What is that? 26?
26.
Yeah. So what happens is you get 2 sacks of supplies, but also not too far away from here, you discover another discovery. It's a stand of pine trees. You didn't get too close, but they got some weird vibes to them. That's what I'm gonna say. There's like some separation between these, and these are like kind of like thick, and the description is ornate and buxom pine trees. So sort of like thick and fancy trees that are a little bit separated from the other ones. And they're about 2 days out. You can check those out if you want, now or at some other point. But yeah, 2 sacks into discovery.
I've added the sacks to our caravan list.
Cool. And you would like to do some language studying?
I would like to do some language studying.
Cool. I think I'm just going to need a regular study roll for this one since you have the Rosetta with you.
Okay, is that a thought roll?
That is a thought roll. Yep.
I rolled 8 plus 2 is a 10.
Would you like to spend a hero die to get an 11?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, that'll get you your next level. If you're spending all week with your nose in the book.
Yep.
Cool. And wrap around, we get a bonus week because we've got 7 days there. So we spent our other supplies already.
Yeah, so spend another week of supplies, okay?
Yeah. And I'll take care of that week, and we are in Orange Month 2 now. And your packages are back. Great. Next misfortune roll, please.
So before we do that, I do have a question. Now that we're back up and I'm aware of what I'm looking for, do I detect a difference in how the voices sound when I'm relatively close to the being in the perfect city?
I don't think so. I think the your regular voices screaming are normal, and you have not gotten any other contact from the one, presumably from the city.
Gotcha.
The island. Yep.
I'll do the roll.
Cool.
Let's see what we got. Oh, that's bad.
That is bad. That is bad.
Do you want to take the one, or do you want to add some hero dice?
I'll take the one.
Cool.
See what it does.
Ooh, yeah. Would you like to lose supplies or ability score?
I'll take the ability score.
Yeah, good call. So I think in your not too bad. In your kind of convalescence here, around the base of the behemoth, the ground is also oddly kind of ossified as well, and you are contemplating this when you feel the ground give way.
Oh.
And then there's like a quick yelp, and Aderon's gone. You've fallen into a small cavern that is underneath the behemoth. You're going to lose 1 point each of agility and endurance from falling. And this cave is full of bones. It's not huge. It's like, I don't know, 10, 12 feet across and maybe 8, 9 feet down. But there are just piles and piles of bones of all description, animal, human, larger things that seem to have been here for some time. Maybe not as long as the bones from back home in the Sarai, but it's a steady accumulation. And
Well, I do have a rope ladder.
you do, yeah. I mean, you can get out without too much trouble.
Oh.
It's just surprising and unpleasant.
So Aderon will start cataloging these because Aderon has a fascination with bones.
Yeah, you'll keep yourself occupied for sure.
In fact, at least part of the time when Aderon is convalescing, they will be down here looking at bones and contemplating the past.
Nice. And in fact, can I get a thought roll from you?
From me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a bone cataloger.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think from these bones, you are able to salvage some stuff, some bone work. And there are some of the bones that are actually kind of pliable. You can, over the course of this week, extract a sack worth of bone work, which goes for 200 a sack. Not
Awesome.
That's cool.
Let me roll encounter. Great.
That was 200. You said it was worth?
Yes, yeah, bone work, and that's in the big list of trade goods.
Okay.
The little guys. Wow. How? So are you all camping up top or at the base?
I think we probably need to. Honestly, I think we should probably camp at the base just because we've got our donkeys and whatnot, so we need to defend them. We're not going to bring them all the way up.
Yeah. I think over the course of a day or two, I think it's Modan that is aware of this first. There is the sound of like chittering. At first, it sounds just. I mean, you're out in the hills. There are animals. This is more like a more constant chattering almost. That's not too nearby, but I think your expert traveler ear picks it up a little bit. And once you point it out to the others, they can you can also hear, and it becomes louder over the course of a day. Yeah, I think you wake up one morning after the fog clears, and you see within shouting distance. You can't. It's hard to tell because it looks like they're farther away at first until you realize that there is a swarm of gerbils kind of scampering back and forth across the hill nearby. There are a lot of them, and they seem to be. I think like almost like when ants discover something sweet, they start kind of forming trails and swarming towards it. I think one or two of these gerbils has found the what do you call it? A midden, the bone pit, and kind of alerted the other ones to it. And unless you stop them, they're not going to take the bones that you recovered in the sacks. But these gerbils are going to start looting this cave of smaller bones and sort of just taking them away. Um, they're a little bit larger than your average gerbil, maybe like hamster sized. Um, do you do anything to stop them or interact with them?
So Aderon would like to um hmm,
Phaedrid is interested in like seeing if these gerbils are like, I mean, because we've encountered intelligent animals before, to see if these are like actually uplifted animals, and if so, like ask them like what's going on here, what's their deal, why do they want these bones?
Mm-hmm. Um, Now, I think when you approach them, they just scatter. Um,
Okay.
I think coming at it with that intention, though, um, I think like as they like one of them does catch your eye, and there's like almost a moment of recognition there. Um, Modan, you realize they're going back in the direction of those pine trees. I think as long as like there is a presence near the bone pile, they won't come too close. But like when you sleep, you hear that like they're back at work again.
Got it. I mean, I don't really care if gerbils want to loot a bone cairn, but
Yeah,
so Aderon will reshape themselves into a general gerbil shape,
like a giant gerbil.
like a giant gerbil, and sit a little ways away from the bone pit to see if they will come up and investigate overnight while everybody else is sleeping.
Let me get a charisma roll.
Okay. 15.
Yeah. I think some of them do come up and kind of come within like if they talked, you could probably talk with them. I don't think they get a lot closer, but they are kind of sniffing you out. Um, they don't seem like they're going to talk though.
Okay.
But yeah, they're like, who the fuck is this giant gerbil? Not one of ours. Okay, yeah, not going to get close enough for it to eat us.
Okay.
Um, cool. We have another opportunity to rest if no one is going to do anything else. Or you can again do any of your camp actions.
I can't remember. Is that include like training traits, or is that only in cities?
Camp actions are forage, care, study, hide, and ambush. But forage, care, and study are the main ones.
Is study the thing where you get ranks of things?
Yeah.
and what and care was like helping out someone else.
That's your healing. So anyone who yeah.
I think I'm gonna try. I think if we're doing another, if I mean, because I already did a study action, but if we're going another week, or if we've got a second action, I want to try to care for Aderon to
Yeah.
try to help him heal.
Yeah, so Aderon can do one thing of healing themselves. So you can either heal a trait or heal your life.
And I'm going to heal one of my traits that just got injured.
And if Phaedrid would like to do a care action, that just means you get to you don't have to roll or anything for it. You just get to do another heal action, rest action for yourself. So
I would do the same.
cool. So yeah, do 2 more heals then. Everyone,
Okay.
everyone's on.
I will say, given the calming attention of Modan and Phaedrid, I'm going to argue that I get back 1 point of thought.
You can heal it completely.
Do you want me to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can. I was.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you still have the like. I think
You're still troubled, but you've
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
you've become accustomed to their voice.
Right. But and one morning after Aderon is feeling more themselves, Aderon will prepare tea and cakes for the campsite and basically give them breakfast in bed.
Nice.
Aw.
With all that care, can I get another? Now that your thought is healed, can I get a thought roll from you?
Okay. 17 plus 4 be 21.
Right on. Great. And I think the voices are not less forceful again, but it feels like their probing is a little bit more gentle. It's not like someone like grabbing, trying to figure out what it is, and more like someone
Yeah.
feeling like this.
Yeah, so they're starting to be more aware of me not as an unknown presence, but they're starting to try and feel like what is this presence that is intruded on our distress.
Yeah, and it's you get the feeling it's almost less like there was this thing that I have to fucking deal with, and more like, oh, this might be a person, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. And so that's
And I have one other question. I was just looking at my equipment list. I've been carrying around like a few bottles of curative snake oil.
oh yeah.
I forget what that does. Can that, because I am down a few life, and I know Aderon and everyone's down a few life points. So
Yeah.
does this cure life, or what is? I don't remember what that does.
Generic remedy against venom, bugs, parasites, diseases, rashes, and blisters.
Venom.
I'm gonna say, do you remember where you got it?
I've been carrying it around for a while. I want to say I've been carrying it around since did we get it from the Lime Nomads way back then? I don't remember.
You got that other like the vodka from them.
Oh, we got the vodka from them. I don't remember where I got this, honestly, but I've been carrying it around for a while because it's really high up in the list, which means it was one of the first things I wrote down.
Yeah, it's not going to cure life, but like if you had some irritation, like it would.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a soothing balm salve. Grow your hair back.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay. I was wondering if it was like a potion of healing or something like that could, because I have a healing spell, but it costs me
Right.
It costs me 2 life to do it.
Yeah. Great. So that is bottom of the order. We are past 10. So yeah, let's wrap it up there, and we will do start a fresh week next week.
Sounds good.
Great.
Sounds good.
Great. Let's go ahead and do stars and wishes. Let's go left to right in the keeper, which means that who goes first? Mike.
Sure. Stars all around. This is kind of like this is more of a contemplative session than we've had in the past, where we've kind of like dealt with some, mostly we dealt with like personal issues, but then we tried to find out like what this weird thing was. So, yeah, I want to say a big star to Teal for just Aderon as usual, just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to walk through this barrier and see what's on the other side. Oh, this is very pleasant. Like, and yeah, that's the main standout that came to me in terms of like role playing. Just in terms of, I mean, this is like a weird situation. I'm, don't know what, if anything, is like in this flying park thing, but it's weird. I was hoping to try to come up with a way that we could like actually explore it, but we just don't seem to have the equipment, and I guess we don't have the means of building the kind of equipment we would need. So.
Hazmat suits are relatively cheap in a city. Just for
okay.
They're like 150.
Okay. Okay, but so they wouldn't be the sort of thing they'd have at the Behemoth Shell Village, though.
Probably not. Yeah.
Cool. I think I just just kind of stars all around for like generally fun session. I think we had a lot of I think we had some fun interpersonal just some fun interpersonal moments, which was always fun to see. And yeah, as for wishes, yeah, I don't think I have any particular. Well, I mean, I think I guess my big wish is to try to figure out how to. I would like to come to some kind of conclusion with this whole with Aderon's um you know Aderon's mind being attacked from something. I don't necessarily mean to clear it, but to come to some kind of resolution with it.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Thank you. Next up is Heath.
Yep. The usual. It's just fun playing with everybody and all the leaning into characters, and Mark always throwing all kinds of interesting crap at us.
Gerbils.
Teleporting rat men from the future and swarms of gerbils and poisonous bubble cities and tethered to ossified skeletons.
It's 100 feet tall.
Only in the grasslands. Aderon always Aderon cracks me up also because I feel like wants to be extra harsh on himself. When it's like, okay, this will get you this. It's like, okay, well, what if I only heal part way? It's like, you can just heal all the way, is what it does. No, I'm not going to do that. Definitely not a min-maxer. Only wishes. I keep realizing, a while back, I took that friend skill, which is supposed to get me a number of friends equal to blah, blah, blah. So it'd be nice to use that and get NPCs to fill those slots.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just a useless skill. I'm like, hey, I can have all these friends for free. I don't have any yet.
You could say that our bear friend is one of your friends.
I just thought about that.
Yeah, you could level him up. Yeah. He's level 4 right now, so it would take a little bit to level him up, but you can definitely do that.
Yeah, and then I think I've got an idea. I'm starting to get to a point now where I know when you level up, you can get traits, you can up a stat, you can increase a skill you already have and all that. But it's also this game's so weird about traits. It's because there's not a whole lot of there's some other traits I did see that I might get. But then I also know that I guess a big part of it is you can just make your own traits up as well. So I've got some ideas.
I just made up the languages thing because it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got an idea for a trait that might be kind of fun. I've got an idea for another beetle horse level up. But,
yeah, and in the Vastlands guidebook, the last half of the book is just traits from different landers and whatnot. So
is that the one? Is that the main? Vastlands guidebook. I've got that open right now.
Yeah, so
I think I've never looked past the general path of the wizard, path of the traveler, path of the fighter, and or make one up.
There's there's 20 more paths, and each one has 6 traits.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. But it's also I do have an idea for.
Yeah, or you can just make it
kind of fun. Yeah. Aside from that, though, I do like sort of the balance we have. I feel like Aderon and Phaedra usually have pretty good ideas of where we should go, and so I like that because for me, I'm I don't know. So it's fun to be Modan just being wherever you guys want to go, let's go. So I love always fun game.
Cool. Any wishes?
No, just other than the friends thing.
Cool.
Making use of that.
Friends.
I want more friends to fill out those friend slots.
Cool. And Deal.
So, of course, wonderful game session, stars all around. I want to call out Heath, both in the beginning and towards the end. Modan's very we embrace openness, and then later we embrace openness, but with caution. And I really like your perspective on being relaxed. You're here to see things. You're not going to jump to negative conclusions. You're not necessarily you're not quite as trusting as Aderon is, which is a safety advantage. Um, and it sets such a nice tone. And then because Modon's fairly philosophical about it, it's also like you say things and I'm like, oh, I have to think about like I have to think about that from that perspective. So I really appreciate you've changed the way Aderon engages with the world already, and it just the I like that kind of interaction. It makes playing my character more fun when my characters have to stop and go, oh, this person is impacting me. Um, and uh, both of you, Micah and Heath, I have to say that Aderon feels very loved, which was not something I was expecting to get out of a UVG game specifically. I'm like, these people care. And this is a little confusing to Aderon, who's used to. Aderon doesn't remember the past particularly, but Aderon knows that they have been a servant.
Mhm.
So, do what you do your job, and you will be given, nice things to consume. But this is different. This is like completely um like it's a completely different experience for Aderon. And before the game, I had actually been thinking about this question because I was like, does Aderon feel like they're friends with Modan and Phaedrid? I was like, well, there's movement in that direction, but Aderon's not sure. And this by now, Aderon's like, friends. Um, so that's also like a really interesting experience. And I mean, it happens sometimes in games where you develop friends. Um, a lot of times with people you already know as players, though, right? It's just natural to fall into, oh, we're friends in real life, so our characters will become friends. And since I don't know any of you, this is a different experience. So I'm enjoying that a lot. Um, and of course, Mark, I will never run Ultraviolet Grasslands, I don't think. I'm like, I can't do it like Mark did, which is fine. um, as far as wishes goes, uh, what I would say is I want to keep developing Aderon's interaction with beings from the past,
Mhm.
but I'm comfortable with like making it a little less the foreground element, um, because I know other people have things they want to do. And at this point, Aderon's feeling better about the process quite a bit.
Mhm.
There are now at least potential avenues, even though, of course, there are new risks involved with the potential avenues. So that gives, because the whole week I've been like, oh, what do I do? Because I didn't want to just say, oh, I rolled a die and everything's fine. Like that doesn't do anything for me, the player. So the way this has evolved, I really appreciate.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I had a great time too. I really like that we're spending time at the discoveries and messing around with like the cool weird stuff. That's just like a couple sentences in the book. Like we can spin out to an entire thing. Yeah, the way you guys like, but it's not like uh dungeon crawly check every 10 feet for traps kind of caution. But there is a thoughtfulness to it that is really cool and interesting. Not just like we're gonna be crazy and do everything, but like also we are just gonna walk into the poison sometimes. But we are gonna take extra time to like make our safety gear. So it's a really fun balance to sort of see that, and then having like fun conversations along the way while we're doing all the mechanics and logistical stuff, like talking about what we're afraid of and that sort of thing. So that's really cool to see. Yeah, and the setting is just great. I love it. Yeah, I think wish for next time, just see what happens next. There's a lot of a lot of cool directions to go. So we'll do one. Awesome. Anything else before we say goodbye? Cool. Goodbye to anyone listening. See you next time.